Are you ready to see the shocking truth about homelessness in America's biggest cities? From the glitz of Los Angeles to the bustling streets of New York City, homelessness is growing faster than most people realize, and it's affecting even the wealthiest, most celebrated urban centers. In this video, we'll reveal the 10 greatest cities in America where homelessness is rising at alarming rates, exploring why this crisis is getting worse, who it impacts, and what cities are doing to try to fight it. You might be surprised to learn that even cities known for opportunity, tech, and culture are struggling with this hidden epidemic. Stay tuned because some of the numbers are staggering, the stories are heart-wrenching, and the solutions aren't as simple as you might think. Don't just watch, engage. Comment below which city shocked you the most, and let's start a conversation about how we can better address this growing crisis. Number 10, Houston, Texas. It stands out in the national conversation on homelessness because it has been praised for achieving what many other large U.S. cities have struggled to do, reduce homelessness significantly over the last decade. Through its ambitious Housing First model, Houston has managed to place over 25,000 homeless individuals into permanent supportive housing since. The strategy is rooted in the belief that stability starts with housing, and only then can issues like addiction, employment, or health be effectively addressed. This success has been made possible through unprecedented coordination between the city government, the Coalition for the Homeless, and federal funding partners such as HUD. However, Houston's progress is now facing serious pressures and setbacks. As one of the fastest-growing metropolitan areas in the U.S., the city attracts new residents daily due to its job opportunities, business-friendly policies, and lack of a state income tax. But this rapid growth is also fueling housing market strain. Once known for its relatively low cost of living, Houston is now seeing rising rents, shrinking affordable housing options, and waves of gentrification in historically lower-income neighborhoods. For people living paycheck to paycheck, even a small financial setback like a medical bill, job loss, or natural disaster can quickly lead to homelessness. Houston's geography adds another layer of vulnerability. Extreme weather events like Hurricane Harvey in 2017 displaced thousands and damaged large portions of the city's housing stock, leaving many without a permanent home. The combination of flooding risks, brutal summer heat, and insufficient shelter infrastructure means life on the streets here is often more dangerous than in other U.S. cities. Encampments under highways, along bayous, and in urban parks have become more visible, reflecting the city's ongoing challenges despite its nationally recognized programs. Advocates warn that Houston risks losing hard-won progress if investments in affordable housing, healthcare, and mental health services do not keep pace with its rapid population growth. While Houston may serve as a model of what coordinated action can achieve, its situation today is a reminder that homelessness is not a solved problem, but an ongoing battle against economic inequality, housing shortages, and systemic gaps in care. Number 9, Washington, D.C. It is one of the most visible examples of America's homelessness crisis. Despite its political power and wealth, the city has long struggled with a disproportionately high homeless population relative to its size. At one point, D.C. had the highest rate of homelessness per capita of any major U.S. city. While the district has implemented aggressive housing programs and reduced overall homelessness in recent years, the problem remains stubborn, particularly with chronic homelessness and family homelessness. Encampments are now common under overpasses in public parks and near government buildings, drawing national attention. One of the biggest drivers of DC's crisis is skyrocketing housing costs. The district's real estate market has boomed over the past 2 decades, fueled by gentrification, an influx of highly paid professionals, and limited housing supply. Entire neighborhoods that once offered affordable rentals have transformed into luxury apartment zones, pushing low-income families out. The average rent for even a modest apartment in D.C. is now out of reach for many working-class residents, and combined with the region's high cost of living, the risk of homelessness is especially severe for those living paycheck to paycheck. The city has made efforts to tackle the crisis through housing-first strategies and programs like Homeward DC, which aims to end chronic homelessness by increasing permanent supportive housing. While these initiatives have housed thousands of people, they struggle to keep up with demand. Contributing factors like untreated mental illness, lack of affordable health care, and rising opioid addiction further complicate the issue. Seasonal challenges, such as freezing winters, make life on the streets in DC especially dangerous, often requiring the city to open emergency warming shelters. Washington, D.C. illustrates the stark contrast between political power and social vulnerability. Just blocks away from the White House and Capitol Hill, entire homeless encampments stand as daily reminders of inequality. Unless the district can expand affordable housing faster, strengthen mental health and addiction services, and protect low-income residents from displacement, homelessness will remain a defining crisis in America's capital city. Number 8, Portland, Oregon. Once celebrated for its progressive culture and strong sense of community, has become one of the most visible epicenters of homelessness in the United States. In recent years, the city's homeless crisis has drawn national attention due to the sheer scale of encampments along streets, sidewalks, and public parks. According to local counts, thousands of people in Portland are experiencing homelessness on any given night, and a significant portion of them are unsheltered, living in tents or makeshift shelters. This visible surge has created tension among residents, businesses, and city leaders, sparking heated debates over how to respond. A major factor behind Portland's crisis is its skyrocketing housing costs. Once known as an affordable alternative to cities like San Francisco and Seattle, Portland's popularity has driven housing demand far beyond supply. Over the past decade, rents and home prices have risen sharply, leaving low and middle-income residents struggling to keep up. For many, a job loss, medical bill, or family crisis can mean slipping into homelessness. The city's limited supply of affordable housing and shelter beds has left many with nowhere to turn. Another complicating element is Portland's struggle with mental health and addiction services. Advocates point out that many experiencing homelessness also face challenges such as untreated mental illness, substance abuse, or lack of access to health care. Oregon consistently ranks near the bottom in terms of mental health care availability, meaning thousands go without the support they need. Meanwhile, city policies designed to balance compassion with public safety, such as relaxed camping bans, have drawn criticism for failing to provide lasting solutions while leaving residents frustrated with the visibility of encampment. Portland's homelessness crisis has become not just a humanitarian issue, but also a political flashpoint. City leaders have pledged to expand affordable housing, increase funding for mental health and addiction treatment, and create more shelter capacity. Yet progress has been slow, and the crisis remains one of the most defining challenges in Portland today. The city's situation underscores how rising inequality, inadequate healthcare, and housing shortages can combine to overwhelm even well-intentioned communities, turning a livability success story into a cautionary tale. Number 7, San Diego, California. Often thought of as a sun-soaked coastal paradise, has seen its image increasingly overshadowed by a rapidly growing homelessness crisis. With thousands of people living on the streets, in tents, or in vehicles, San Diego now ranks among the cities with the largest unsheltered homeless populations in the United States. What makes the crisis especially visible is the concentration of encampments in urban areas, particularly downtown near East Village, where sidewalks and overpasses have turned into sprawling tent communities. For a city heavily reliant on tourism and its reputation as America's finest city, the scale of homelessness has become both a humanitarian emergency and a civic challenge. The root causes of San Diego's crisis are tied closely to housing affordability. The city consistently ranks as one of the least affordable housing markets in the U.S., with rents and home prices soaring far beyond what most working-class families can afford. Many people who work full-time jobs in service, retail, or even healthcare sectors still cannot afford stable housing, leaving them just one financial setback away from homelessness. Compounding this is the lack of sufficient affordable housing projects and shelter capacity, which means thousands remain unsheltered each night. San Diego also faces significant challenges related to mental health and addiction. Advocates estimate that a large percentage of the city's homeless population struggles with untreated mental illness or substance abuse disorders. Yet California's fragmented mental health system leaves many without support. In recent years, fentanyl and methamphetamine use have surged, making recovery and reintegration into society even more difficult for those on the street. The region's mild climate, while attractive to newcomers, also makes outdoor encampments more sustainable year-round, leading to a visibly persistent crisis. City leaders have attempted multiple solutions, from increasing shelter space to experimenting with safe parking programs for people living in cars, but these efforts often lag behind the scale of the problem. Public frustration has grown, with residents and business owners calling for stronger enforcement, while advocates argue for compassion-driven approaches and more long-term housing investment. Ultimately, San Diego's homelessness crisis reflects the broader struggle in California, a state of immense wealth and opportunity, yet plagued by housing shortages and deep social inequality. Without bold investments in affordable housing and accessible healthcare, San Diego's homeless population is likely to keep rising, straining both its resources and its identity as one of America's most desirable cities to live. Number 6. Phoenix, Arizona. It is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, but with rapid growth comes a rising homelessness crisis. Over the past decade, the number of people experiencing homelessness in Phoenix has increased steadily, particularly among unsheltered populations. Encampments along highways, riverbeds, and underpasses have become increasingly visible, highlighting the city's struggle to provide sufficient shelter and support services. Despite its reputation for sunny weather and affordable living, compared to coastal cities, Phoenix is facing a serious humanitarian challenge. A primary driver of homelessness in Phoenix is housing affordability. As the city attracts more residents seeking job opportunities, housing costs have surged. Many low and moderate income families find themselves unable to afford rent or purchase a home, and even full-time workers in service, retail, or healthcare sectors can struggle to make ends meet. Combined with a limited supply of emergency shelters and transitional housing, thousands of individuals are left without stable places to live. Phoenix also faces extreme environmental challenges that exacerbate the crisis. The city's scorching summer temperatures make life on the streets particularly dangerous. Without adequate shade, water access, or cooling facilities, unsheltered residents face serious health risks, including heat stroke and dehydration. Additionally, the desert climate makes temporary encampments difficult to sustain during seasonal monsoons or extreme heat waves. Another factor contributing to Phoenix's homelessness crisis is the prevalence of mental health issues and substance abuse. Many people experiencing homelessness also contend with untreated mental illness, addiction, or both, yet access to affordable healthcare and support services remains limited. Nonprofits and city programs have made efforts to provide temporary relief, but resources often fall short of the growing demand. City officials have launched initiatives such as Housing First programs, outreach efforts, and supportive services, which have helped some individuals transition into stable housing. However, experts warn that without a significant increase in affordable housing, mental health support, and long-term solutions, Phoenix's homelessness problem could continue to grow alongside its population. Ultimately, Phoenix reflects a broader trend seen in America's fastest-growing cities. Even areas known for economic opportunity and sunshine cannot escape the impact of rising housing costs, social inequality, and inadequate support system. Without decisive action, the city risks seeing its homelessness crisis deepen further, threatening both residents and the community's overall livability. Number 5. Chicago, Illinois. The third largest city in the United States faces a persistent and growing homelessness crisis, despite being a major economic and cultural hub. Thousands of people live without permanent housing across the city, with encampments appearing under bridges, along the riverfront, and in public spaces. Chicago's homelessness issue is highly visible and complex, involving a combination of economic inequality, lack of affordable housing, and social service challenges. One of the primary drivers of homelessness in Chicago is housing affordability. Rising rents and property costs in many neighborhoods have pushed low-income residents out of stable housing. Even with public assistance programs, many families and individuals cannot secure apartments due to limited availability or high security deposit requirements. This problem is particularly acute in communities already struggling with poverty and unemployment, making Chicago's homeless population diverse, ranging from single adults to families with children. Economic factors, including unemployment and stagnant wages, also contribute to the city's crisis. While Chicago is home to numerous large employers in finance, healthcare, technology, and manufacturing, many working-class residents still find it difficult to afford housing and basic necessities. For those living paycheck to paycheck, even a minor setback, such as unexpected medical bills or job loss, can lead to homelessness. Chicago also faces challenges with mental health and addiction services. A significant portion of the city's homeless population struggles with untreated mental illness or substance use disorders. Although local nonprofits, religious organizations, and government programs provide support, the demand far exceeds available resources. Additionally, Chicago's harsh winters make unsheltered living extremely dangerous, with freezing temperatures posing serious risks for those without stable housing. City leaders have implemented initiatives such as Housing First programs temporary shelters, and outreach services aimed at reducing homelessness. However, experts warn that without long-term investments in affordable housing, mental health care, and economic opportunity, Chicago's homeless population could continue to grow. The city's situation highlights the challenges faced by major urban centers in balancing economic growth with social equity, showing that even America's greatest cities are not immune to the complex issue of homelessness. Number 4, Seattle, Washington. A city known for its thriving tech industry and picturesque landscapes has become a hotspot for homelessness in the United States. Despite its booming economy, high-paying jobs, and global reputation, thousands of residents in Seattle live without permanent housing. Encampments have become a common sight under freeway overpasses, along the waterfront, and in public parks, making homelessness one of the city's most visible social crises. One of the driving factors behind Seattle's homelessness surge is skyrocketing housing costs. The city has experienced dramatic real estate growth, fueled largely by tech giants like Amazon and Microsoft. While this boom has created high-income opportunities, it has also driven up rent and home prices, making housing unattainable for many low- and middle-income residents. Even full-time workers in retail, food service, and healthcare often cannot afford a safe, stable home, pushing them towards shelters or street living. Seattle also faces challenges related to mental health and substance abuse. Many experiencing homelessness are dealing with untreated mental illness, opioid addiction, or both. Though nonprofits and city programs offer support services, demand consistently outpaces supply, leaving a large portion of the population without access to the care they need. Seasonal weather adds another layer of danger, with rainy and cold conditions making life on the streets extremely difficult and hazardous. City officials have implemented strategies like housing first initiatives, supportive housing programs, and temporary shelters to combat the crisis. However, Seattle's rapid population growth, limited affordable housing, and social service gaps make these solutions only partially effective. Advocates argue that without a significant expansion of permanent housing and comprehensive healthcare access, the homeless population is likely to continue growing, despite the city's wealth and resources. Seattle's homelessness crisis is a stark reminder that even economically vibrant cities can struggle with inequality, housing shortages, and social service limitations. The juxtaposition of billion-dollar tech companies and visible encampments underscores the complex challenges of addressing homelessness in America's most dynamic urban center. Number 3, San Francisco, California. It is often celebrated for its culture, innovation, and iconic landmarks, has become synonymous with the homelessness crisis in America. Despite being one of the wealthiest and most dynamic cities in the country, it has one of the highest rates of unsheltered homelessness per capita. Tent encampments are a common sight throughout the city, from sidewalks in the Tenderloin district to parks and underpasses, making homelessness one of the most visible urban challenges in the United States. A major factor behind San Francisco's crisis is skyrocketing housing costs. The city's booming tech sector has attracted high-income residents, driving housing prices to levels unattainable for low- and middle-income families. Even with employment, many cannot afford the rent for safe housing, and the lack of sufficient affordable housing units leaves thousands on the streets. Gentrification has displaced longtime residents, worsening the problem in neighborhoods that were historically working class. San Francisco also faces challenges related to mental health and substance abuse. Many homeless individuals struggle with untreated mental illness or addiction, and while local programs and nonprofits provide some assistance, the resources are not enough to meet the overwhelming demand. The city's mild climate allows encampments to persist year-round, which can increase visibility and the perception of crisis. Seasonal health risks, like extreme fog or occasional heat waves, add additional challenges for those living outdoors. Local authorities have implemented initiatives such as housing first programs, supportive services, and temporary shelters, aiming to reduce chronic homelessness. While some progress has been made, the growth of the tech economy and continued population influx make long-term solutions difficult to achieve. Advocates argue that without large-scale investment in permanent affordable housing, mental health care, and social services, San Francisco's homelessness crisis will remain one of the most severe in the country. San Francisco's situation highlights the paradox of modern urban life. Even cities with immense wealth and global prestige can face deep social inequality and housing crisis. The stark contrast between luxury high-rises and street encampments underscores the urgent need for comprehensive and sustainable solutions to homelessness. Number 2, New York City, New York. The largest city in the United States, is home to the country's highest homeless population in absolute numbers, making it a focal point of America's homelessness crisis. Despite its immense wealth, cultural influence, and economic opportunities, the city faces persistent challenges in providing stable housing for its most vulnerable residents. Thousands of people live in shelters, temporary housing, or on the streets, with encampments visible in parks, underpasses, and subway stations. One of the main drivers of homelessness in NYC is soaring housing costs. The city's limited housing supply, coupled with extreme demand, has created some of the highest rents in the nation. Even individuals with full-time jobs can struggle to cover rent, while low-income families are disproportionately affected. Programs like public housing and rental assistance exist but are insufficient to meet the overwhelming need, leaving many residents at risk of homelessness. Economic inequality is another significant factor. While New York thrives as a global hub for finance, media, tech, and tourism, the wealth gap is stark. Those on the lower end of the income scale often face precarious living conditions, and the high cost of living makes it difficult to escape homelessness once it occurs. Additionally, challenges such as mental health issues, addiction, and lack of access to healthcare compound the problem for many unsheltered individuals. New York City has implemented initiatives like Housing First programs, expanded shelter systems, and supportive services, and there have been some successes in reducing family homelessness. However, chronic homelessness among adults remains high, and the city continues to grapple with the growing needs of a diverse and vulnerable population. Seasonal weather extremes, hot summers, and freezing winters also make life on the streets especially dangerous, requiring emergency services and shelters to operate year-round. The city's homelessness crisis underscores a critical paradox. New York is a global symbol of opportunity and wealth, yet thousands of its residents live without basic shelter. It highlights the urgent need for more permanent, affordable housing, improved mental health and addiction services, and comprehensive policies to address economic inequality. Without significant intervention, New York City's homelessness population is likely to remain one of the most challenging social issues in the nation. Number 1, Los Angeles, California. It is often celebrated for its glitz entertainment industry and sprawling urban landscape, also has the largest homeless population of any city in the United States. Tens of thousands of individuals live on the streets, in vehicles or in temporary shelters, with tent encampments visible in neighborhoods across the city from Skid Row to Venice Beach. Despite its wealth, sunny weather, and economic opportunities, homelessness has become one of the most visible and pressing social crises in Los Angeles. A major factor behind the crisis is skyrocketing housing costs. Los Angeles consistently ranks as one of the least affordable cities in the U.S., with rents and home prices far outpacing wage growth. Many residents, including full-time workers in service, retail, and healthcare industries, struggle to pay rent, leaving them vulnerable to homelessness. Limited availability of affordable housing units exacerbates the problem, and gentrification in historically lower-income neighborhoods has displaced thousands more. The crisis is compounded by mental health and substance abuse challenges. A significant portion of the homeless population in Los Angeles faces untreated mental illness or addiction. While the city has implemented outreach programs, shelters, and supportive services, demand far exceeds capacity. Harsh realities such as extreme heat, wildfires, and occasional flooding make life on the streets dangerous and further highlight the urgent need for long-term solutions. Los Angeles has tried various approaches to address homelessness, including Housing First initiatives, tiny home villages, and expanded shelter programs. While some progress has been made in moving individuals into permanent housing, the rapid population growth, ongoing economic inequality, and high cost of living mean that the problem persists, and in some areas, continues to worsen. Advocates emphasize that without major investments in affordable housing, mental health services, and employment programs, Los Angeles will remain at the forefront of the nation's homelessness crisis. Ultimately, Los Angeles serves as a stark illustration of the juxtaposition between wealth and poverty in America. While it's a city of dreams and opportunity, it also highlights the challenges faced by even the richest and most resourceful urban centers, when dealing with the complex issue of homelessness. Conclusion, and there you have it, the shocking reality of homeless population growth in America's 10 greatest cities. From Los Angeles to New York City, these urban centers are facing one of the toughest social crises in modern history. Now we want to hear from you. Which city's homelessness situation surprised you the most? Do you think cities are doing enough to address this crisis, or is more action needed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with friends and family who care about America's cities and social issues. Stay tuned to discover top 10 places for more deep dives into the challenges, opportunities, and hidden truths shaping our country's greatest urban areas. Thanks for watching, and remember, behind every statistic is a human story.